In this lesson, we're going to go over how to convert between metric units and imperial units. So in order to do these conversions, you are going to need to keep your conversion table handy. And in this table, you can see that we've got all the length conversions, mass conversions, and volume conversions. So the thing to pay attention to is whether you're going from SI, which remember is just another word for metric, to imperial, or from imperial to SI. So depending on which conversion you're doing, you're going to find the appropriate conversion factor, and then you're going to use the same steps that we used in the previous lesson of setting up your two equivalent ratios. So for example, if you were going to convert 12 feet into meters, you would go into your conversion table, and feet to meters is imperial to metric. So we're going to look for the conversion factor. 1 foot is 0.3048 meters. So we would set up that conversion factor, and then we would include the second ratio, which is 12 feet, and our unknown is how many meters. We would then cross multiply and divide to get a total of 3.6576 meters. If we were going to convert 15 kilometers into miles, we would do something very similar. So again, this is length, but we're going kilometers to miles. So on our table, we're going from metric to imperial. So 1 kilometer is 0.62139 of a mile. So I'm going to write that down first. 1 kilometer, 0.62139 miles. And I'm wanting to change 15 kilometers. My unknown is the miles. So I'm going to multiply and divide by 1. And when I do that multiplication, I get 9.32 miles. On the next page, example number 2 wants you to convert 120 pounds into kilograms. So again, on your conversion chart, you are going from pounds to kilograms, so imperial to metric. So 1 pound is 0.4536 kgs. 1 pound, 0.4536 kgs. So 120 pounds is how many kilograms? Again, you're going to multiply across and divide by 1. When you do that, you get 54.43 kilograms. The next one, you're converting from pints into liters. So here, we're going from pints to liters. So there's my conversion factor. 1 pint is 0.5683 liters. And I'm converting 12 pints. My unknown is liters, so again, you're going to multiply, and the result is 6.82 liters. So you can see that these proportions make this work really easy because everything is set up very organized. You don't have to worry about if you're multiplying or dividing. As long as you set up these ratios correctly, it makes the operation really easy to figure out. And finally, we're going from 5.6 kilograms into pounds. So I'm going to go on my chart, going from kilograms to pounds. So 1 kilogram is equal to 5.2046 pounds. And we want to change 5.6 kgs into pounds. Again, we can just multiply across and divide by 1. And when you do that, you get 12.35 pounds. Now, one thing to note before we wrap this up is that if you go on your chart, you'll see here that if you're going from metric to imperial, you have a conversion. 1 kilogram is 2.2046 pounds. But over here, 1 pound is 0.4536. These conversions are the same. So when you're trying to figure out which one to use, it's always helpful to look for what you're starting with and what you're going to, and then pick the appropriate one. Because you'll notice here what that resulted in is for all of these conversions that we just did, all 3 of these, we just had to multiply. If you were to choose, for example, let's say for this last one, 1 kilogram is 2.2046 pounds. If you used this conversion instead, you would get the same answer, but you would just have to pay more attention to when you're using cross multiplication and division, in that you might have to use division instead, and you wouldn't just be dividing by 1. So be careful when choosing which conversion to use. Doesn't matter, ultimately you'll get the same answer, but figuring out if you're going from metric to imperial or imperial to metric and choosing the appropriate conversion factor can just make your life a little bit easier.